Hello, we are back for the back nine of the FPO Round 1 feature card for the 2021 Music City Open presented by Dynamic Discs. We are here at Cedar Hill Disc Golf Course in Nashville. And I'm Sarah Sinclair, and I'm joined by Leah Tsinajinnie.
We had a solid showing on the front nine, so let's see what this card can do on the back nine.
Our coverage is also sponsored by Infinite Discs. Thank you very much.
On this featured card, we have Rebecca Cox, sponsored by Latitude 64.
I just want to point out as well, there are a lot of career wins if you add up all four of these women.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is Sarah Hokom with her signature traces. I love that disc, by the way.
Her signature smile.
We have Valerie Mandujano from Texas. She's sponsored by Innova. And Missy Gannon, sponsored by Discraft. We got a wide array of disc manufacturers on this card, so it's cool to watch all these different discs fly.
Yep. We've got everyone sitting at even, Rebecca Cox +1. Not bad scores going into the back nine, if you ask me.
Yes. This is hole 10. It's a downhill par 3, 392 feet. You have to hit that initial gap that the drone just flew through, and then try to fade somewhere into circle 2, maybe circle 1. It's definitely a bomber shot, so the distance players have the advantage here. Rebecca Cox is one of them, so let's see what she got.
For some reason on this hole, discs tend to drift left. I don't know if it's the wind, I don't know. This is the mistake that you'll see from most players if they don't hit that gap. Everything just kind of trickles left. So I tend to go with something a little bit more understable because it's better to end up right but out in the open than hitting that gap and getting caught up. That was a great tee shot.
Yeah, she landed in, there's a little gully that's about right around circle 2. So she'll probably be pitching up to this elevated pin. It's hard to putt to it.
Deep breaths.
Missy flipping up a driver nicely, and it looks like it's fading left, and it lands right near the edge of the circle. That was a great drive. She'll have a birdie attempt. Sarah trying to flip it up. It doesn't turn quite enough. She'll have an open look towards the pin. She looks like fine. She landed in circle 2 right there, so that's a great drive.
Rebecca's got a little bit of a scramble to do here. Beautiful.
She landed in the house.
Yes. And as you can see, we're actually throwing to an elevated pin, which makes things a little more interesting because out here in this field, there are lots of distractions. There's cars going by. It's very noisy. There's a haunted house at this time of year. And then there's always lots of swirly wind down in this field. So when you add the elevated pin, it makes the putts very interesting.
Rebecca pitched up, and so did Sarah. They're in the little hexagon. Inside that hexagon, it's about 8 feet, and it can make for a weird putt if you're at the wrong angle.
If you're a little too close, yeah.
Oh, Missy with a great birdie attempt. She'll be tapping in for par. This played as the 4th most difficult hole, and we actually had one birdie in the field. Haley King. No surprise there.
Nope.
Great birdie, Haley. Valerie,
she actually has to stand on top of the...
Yeah, Valerie too.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh. It looks like it went straight through the chains and out the back. Unfortunate.
Oof.
I had a putt from right there, and there was a headwind. So
oh yeah,
being on the side towards the closer to the road is ideal because you don't want to be putting up into a headwind.
That can be a knee knocker for sure.
Valerie with an unfortunate spit out. She'll be taking a bogey with Rebecca, and Sarah and Missy get their pars.
Hole 11 is one of my favorite holes on this course. It's kind of, you get what you see. It's 204 feet. It is very uphill. There is a fairway, an intended fairway, but if you miss your gap by a little bit, then there's ways to still get through and park the basket.
Everyone in the field is gunning for this birdie. It's a nice one to get to start the back nine. We just saw Mason Ford in the background there. He had the hot round in MPO yesterday. I think he shot 10 under. So that's cool to see when the MPO players are supporting their partners and FPO players.
We see Missy highs her out a little bit, but still there for the putt. And Hokom pins it. Beautiful.
It plays out perfectly for a flex shot.
Get up there. It's exactly what you want to do. A little bit of an early release.
A little inside, yes, and it got through enough that she should be able to pitch up. A little low, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Leaving herself a long putt for her par.
Great save.
Everyone else will be putting for their birdies. That was a good 25-foot putt for Missy.
And actually the field, there were 44% of the field had birdies on this hole. So very scoreable for the FPO field. Ah, unfortunate chain out.
And Sarah with a tap-in birdie. So we are 2 for 4 here, which is about the average that you just said.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's still in the mix, though.
This is hole 12. It's a very uphill par 3, 279 feet. This is one of the pin placement changes from last year to this year. It's a little bit shorter for us, about 80 to 100 feet. So you can definitely get up there, but it is a pump. So we're going to be seeing straight shots with a driver, and hopefully you can get into circle 2 or circle 1 for an uphill bid at the pin.
This fairway is extra tricky because it not only, like many holes on this course, it's not only uphill, but you've got this right to left slope. So just as we saw Missy throw there, if you don't get the distance or if you don't throw something understable enough, righty backhand is going to leak left.
And that was
not Hokom.
That was a great drive. She's in circle 2.
Yeah. Oh, a little early release there. That's going to be a tough scramble from that place.
Valerie a little low, but it's skipping up into circle 2. And that's a great drive.
Looking like a forehand roller just to get out to the middle. Sit down. It's tough on these holes, too, with a lot of elevation change, because like you saw there, she may have wanted to do a run-up, but the footing can be weird because of all of the exposed roots and just the elevation. So sometimes you just have to opt for the standstill.
This is Sarah for her birdie look.
Very nice birdie.
Great birdie.
About 28 feet.
This is Missy also for her birdie look. Close, but not quite.
That was a great bid from where she was.
Unfortunate, that will be a double bogey for Rebecca when she taps in.
And I'd say par is a solid score on this hole.
Yes, it's definitely birdieable, but a 3 on this hole is nothing to sneeze at. Especially when you can see what happens when you get off the fairway. It's a rough fairway on either side. I mean, a rough off fairway on either side.
Yeah.
So we have hole 12, Missy and Valerie with a par, Sarah with her birdie, and Rebecca with the unfortunate double bogey.
This is a sneaky, challenging hole. It looks like a simple hyzer off the tee, but if you don't commit to throwing it high enough, you're not going to get the distance that you need to get down to this pin location. Once you get down to the pin, if you get stuck under any of these trees, it's very low ceiling. At 276 feet, though, it is definitely reachable by anyone in the FPO field. Oh no. Hokom is off the fairway by quite a bit.
Missy looks like she gets it inside enough, and if it can skip,
Wow.
awesome shot. So she's right near circle 1, about a 15-footer for her birdie.
That might be a little no, that was actually perfect. The green is giving some favorable skips.
Rebecca's also skips into circle 1, so we'll have 3 looks at birdie here.
So Hokom is basically just trying to get through this clump of trees. Oh my gosh! She's even shocked.
She just threw it in for her birdie, the Ace Run Pro run back.
Wow.
It sneaks right through the bush and dead center.
I'm not sure you could do that twice in a lifetime. I mean, maybe Hokom could, but that was an amazing save. Well, with all these other women having more simple birdie looks, I know she didn't want to be left out of the birdie club, so.
Yes. We have a potential star frame here.
Yes. Woo! Nice putt.
And Missy with the last putt and the closest.
Beautiful star frame.
Wow, wow, wow.
Always great to have a highlight like that when you're on coverage, too.
This is hole 14. It's a par 3, 307 feet. It plays a little bit uphill and then finishes downhill. The main gap is this one that the drone is flying through. You can throw a backhand that you want to turn over, or you can throw a flick on that side. There's also a sneaky gap on the right side with the cedars. It's only about like 10 feet through that side, but you can get there.
That was a cool shot.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. This flex flick line gets you to the pin every time if you throw it like that. And she has a putt for birdie.
Yep.
That's about a 25-foot putt.
This is a tough backhand because, like I've been saying on most of these holes, you've got some elevation change forward, but also the slope where things just tend to hyzer out if you don't throw understable enough. Oh, she actually sneaks in on the backside of that tree, which will give her a putt.
Yes. If you're going to be throwing on the right side like that, you have to get a little lucky to get towards the pin.
And the mistake is putting it behind one of these cedar trees, but she sneaks in perfectly, pretty close to where Missy is. So Rebecca's got a faster disc in her hand. Let's see if she can make the turn. Or Rebecca, rather. She gets caught up on the front side of the tree.
So that's the danger of taking that line. She'll be doing a weird turnover backhand approach. She's going to need to get it high enough to get the glide to go towards the pin.
And not cut roll. Beautiful.
Great approach. We're going to have Valerie and Missy with some tricky cedar putts in circle 2.
It's bound to happen to everybody.
Yeah.
At least once on this course. Hence the name.
It looks like Missy has an open look, so Valerie just has the low ceiling putt.
It's never fun to have a cedar branch poking you in the back of the head while you're trying to putt. Hopefully that's set. This green is notorious for rollaways and then putting you back under another cedar tree. I've actually seen some rollaways down to the road as well.
Unfortunate birdie to bogey for Missy there. Showing how this green can show its teeth. And the same thing for Valerie. If you can't tell, it is a very downhill slope, so that's the risk reward for going for it from that side where they were. Sarah cards a great birdie. She throws the perfect flex shot and gives herself that easy putt.
Ooh. Glad it stuck.
So we have Sarah with the birdie, Rebecca with the par, and 2 bogeys there.
Hole 15, my personal nemesis. This is another par 5 on the course. Really, you just want to throw whatever you feel most confident that will stay in the middle, whether it's a fair, if you're going for it, it could be a beefy driver that you put on a flex. You could even disc down to a mid-range. Depends on how aggressive that you want to get on this tee shot. But if you get off of the fairway, you can do a lot of zigzagging all the way to the basket. It's 648 feet, so you just want to get in the middle on your first drive. That was perfect.
Rebecca looks like she's lining up her backhand. And she's got a flippy driver, but leaves it a little low. And now it's cut rolling into the rough.
That is a tough spot to get out from and still gain some distance. This is the mistake off of the tee that you'll see many people make, is just hyzering out a little bit too early. You do want to put a little bit of turn on the disc on this initial throw. But not too much turn. Let's see where that ends up.
So that might have been an overcorrection. She turns it too much after Missy doesn't turn it enough.
And we'll see how aggressive Rebecca gets on this shot. Looks like she's going to be out in the middle, hopefully.
Yeah, she got up and over the hill, so she'll be able to see the pin area from down there.
Great pitch out.
Missy talking to her trusty caddy and partner, Tom.
He says, throw the forehand. But this is the tricky part. When you get over on the left side, the forehand looks like the shot, but if you don't turn it enough, it could end up on the right side. Missy, luckily, does not make that mistake, but she's still going to be a little bit short of the basket and potentially pinched by a lot of trees.
Sarah with the best drive of the group throwing her second shot. She is going to have an approach for a potential birdie look.
And Rebecca's got a great look at the basket from this angle as well. Caught up a little bit short.
Because this changed from a par 4 to a par 5 this year compared to last year, there are a lot more opportunities for birdies and even eagles on this hole. So don't be surprised if you see some eagle 3s this weekend on this hole.
I actually saw one myself. Holly Finley was able to convert for the eagle.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So it looks like Holly got the only eagle in the FPO field in round 1, but I am imagining we might see a couple in round 2. That is Missy with her third shot, so she'll have a look at birdie.
This is a tough approach because if you don't throw something overstable enough, and you trickle down the hill on the right, you can roll and you can kind of flip up and then give yourself a very long putt back to the basket.
From what I've seen in both MPO and FPO, this can be a very rude green.
Yeah. Oh.
And there you see it right there.
Yep.
Valerie had a good approach, but as you saw earlier, it rolled down the hill. So she'll have a long look.
Oh.
Not quite, so she'll tap in for her par. This is Missy for her birdie. Great putt.
She is great at those long straddle putts. She puts the perfect amount of spin on them.
This is Rebecca putting for par.
Up and over. Oh.
And this is Sarah for her birdie look. Great tap in birdie there. Easy 15-footer. And you really do need to take your time on this green because depending on where you are, it can roll down one hill or down the other. So we got 2 birdies on the card from Sarah and Missy, which is great to see. Valerie with par and Rebecca with a bogey.
Me and my brother and my dad were out there for hours just playing disc golf, having fun.
That's like one of the first things we usually say. It's a great family sport.
We got to do it as a family.
It builds relationship. Like, I know my dad so much better because of disc golf.
It's nice that that's something that we can connect and go do together.
My parents are 100% behind it. Bad rounds, good rounds, doesn't matter. They always have a smile on their face.
We don't call it sacrifice, we call it fun.
Get out there and have fun. At the end of the day, most important is have fun. Hole
16. It's 368 feet. It's a par 3, but it is a tough par 3. You're going to see most of the women just throw out in the open and then have to hit this little tunnel down to the basket. It is a pretty sloping green, so if you throw something a little bit too fast or with a little too much speed, you can fly past the basket very easily. And this is pretty much the landing zone that you'll see most women get to, just the edge of the woods here.
Missy throwing a good turn on it.
Wow.
And it's getting down into the green.
Well, I was wrong. She flew way past the typical landing place.
That is a top-notch drive for this hole.
Yes. Getting pin high or pin low in this case is really, really good.
Valerie trying to match that line. She takes it a little more inside and lands right where Sarah's did in the gap.
That's looking too... Oh,
a little
come
low.
out a little bit, yeah. So this is the tough approach that I was speaking about. She'll have a putt from there, but it'll be a little bit guarded.
It's such a touchy approach, especially with the roots, so you can't rely on ground play. You have to get it there most of the way in the air.
That's the way you do it.
Valerie with a great approach. And let's see if Missy can card this birdie. You're not going to see very many putts from there.
Nope.
That was a good bid.
Great putt. It can be pretty scary of a putt, just because it's on such a... I mean, it looks pretty flat, but it's really not.
It's not.
It's very easy to fly past the basket.
That is a downhill putt right there.
For sure.
So this hole it tied as the second most difficult hole with hole 1. And there were no birdies in the field. If any birdies happen in round 2, it's most likely not going to be where Missy was. It'll be up on circle 1 or circle 2 from the green downhill. So that's a tricky putt. A lot of players aren't going to want to run that. So if someone does birdie it in round 2, it'll be because it was a courageous putt.
Not losing any strokes by taking a par on this hole.
So star par there. This brings us to hole 17. This is a par 3, 415 feet. This is also probably, compared to hole 7, the other signature hole. It's downhill, it slopes from right to left. So most backhand, right-hand players are just going to be throwing something out. They want to keep it on the right side of the fairway so that it fades left into the green. We see Sarah also opting for the backhand, just because that's just the natural way that this hole needs to be played. So she gets down probably about 100 to 125 feet from the pin.
This can play very difficult if the wind is not in your favor. But like you said, the hyzer shot, there must have been a headwind there. But I think the best shot on this is backhand, hyzer, and just putting it close to the wood line and letting it just kind of ride the trees like that. And we see Valerie do this pretty dang well.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So she saw Missy's drive, made the correction, and that was amazing.
This looks great as well, if it can keep riding. Wow.
Great drive.
I'd say that's within 10 feet.
So 2 beautiful drives by Valerie and Rebecca. Missy's going to be scrambling here.
Hit some trees, but luckily she got out.
Sarah has a longer approach, and this approach is so touchy. You can see she's trying to put low speed on it, but gives herself probably a 28-foot putt for par, and that's going to be a downhill putt. Missy not wanting to mess around with the downhill, so she pitches up and is going to take her bogey. Great putt. Valerie cards a birdie from about 25 feet. And if you know this green, you know that was a scary putt.
Oh, man. Right on line.
That was an uncharacteristic miss by Sarah. She'll be getting a bogey. Rebecca with her tap-in birdie. Love it. That was right around 15 feet. Missy also carding a bogey there.
Cleaning the basket. Hole 18. This is a challenging hole for sure. It's a par 5, 742 feet. The shot is just to get it out to the field as lined up with this gap as possible. And then there is an intended fairway, but it's easy to miss your line and just have to be able to throw through little gaps in the trees, which is kind of par for the course at Cedar Hill. Valerie turns that a little too much. She might be a little bit pinched to get down to the gauntlet. And there tends to be some interesting wind on this as well.
Yeah, there was definitely interesting wind when we played the hole. She throws it a little low. It's out in the fairway, but it's not the ideal landing spot.
I love the flick play on this drive. If you can get the distance, she's going to be over there a tiny bit pinched, but I'm sure there's some other little fairways that she can hit down there. Missy committing to the backhand. That's going to look pretty good.
Yeah, she landed a little short. It'll be the same line that Sarah has.
Now this is tricky. She had to turn it around that corner and then let it fade. That's actually not too bad. She made some good headway into the woods.
So the main fairway is the left side, but you see that Missy's trying to get back to it, so she threw a forehand.
I think that tree helped her just kind of kick her back into the middle.
Mm-hmm. Sarah getting the furthest in the bunch, but she's pinched on the right side.
Luckily, she's got a great forehand to get her out of jail. And everyone is...
That
at least
skipped
three
left.
of them are all kind of in the same
she's
spot.
She's off the fairway over there.
Ooh, tricky.
That's a little too much hyzer, and she'll also be going off the fairway.
It's in the middle. Great placement shot.
Playing this hole for par is not a bad idea. Sarah pitching out. She's still got a good 250 feet to the pin, so that'll be an important shot for her to get to the pin for her par.
Great approach shot.
Textbook. That'll be a tap in, I think, for her par.
It needs to settle down a little bit.
Sarah trying to get to the pin, and it goes back behind it. There's a big downhill slope, so she'll have an uphill edge of circle putt for her look at par. That was a great approach by Missy. Unfortunately, I think that was her 5th throw, though, so she'll be tapping in for bogey.
Oh, no.
That would have been her 3rd throw. She would have had a good look at birdie if she had missed that last tree. Went a little bit down the backside there, but it's a close putt.
Okay, Hokom, from this angle, Hokom is not as far away as it looked from the other camera angle, so hopefully she can convert this.
Looks like about 28-footer. Oh. Another uncharacteristic circle 1 miss from Sarah, but that one was not an easy putt. It was uphill with rough right around it. Here we go, Rebecca. This should be for her bogey, unfortunately. I think this one played, let's see. It played as a 5.31, so averaging over par.
There were quite a few birdies, though. So it is doable.
Yes, if you can get off the tee and throw 2 good shots, you'll definitely find yourself at the pin.
So we got Sarah Hokom with the hot round at 3 down, Rebecca at 4 over, Valerie sitting at par, and Missy at -1.
Let's take a look at the leaderboard. We have a 3-way tie for first at 3 under. And it looks like right around even was a great score today. So for round 2, I know people are going to be making their corrections, trying to get a little bit more people under par. Everyone's going to be attacking this course.
Thank you for joining us for the round 1 featured FPO card, back 9 for myself, Sarah Sinclair, and Leah Tsinajinnie.
Make sure you give Ace Run Pro a like, subscribe, and a follow. As well as us, I'm at Leah Tsinajinnie.
And I'm at Frisbee Food Fitness. See you next time.
Thank you all so much.